YCS Pasadena has come to an end, and what I have in front of you is the first place deck profile. What's going on, you guys? Slim here to talk about why Sky Striker Orcust won YCS Pasadena. First and foremost, shout out to Kobe Short. If you guys are following the stream all weekend like I was, you guys could see not only did we get a new stream lineup, layout and everything, coverage was actually really amazing this time. We also got to see some pretty crazy matches. The finals was actually Kobe versus Cody Angeloff. I know those of you are very familiar with him. He is our 2019 national champion. He was also our one of our YCS champions. I believe it was in YCS New Jersey. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. He was going for his third championship. Kobe was going for his first, and they came all the way down to game 3. And you guys saw just how insane the game was. Extremely back and forth. And if you watched any of the previous matches earlier, you could see just sheer amount of skill that there was portrayed by all the players that made the top cut. You guys could see how in certain matches it seemed like the odds were stacked against them, and they were still able to come out on top and win. And yeah, everyone has made the joke, we know, ban engage. It's pretty crazy. If it isn't winning in Sky Strikers, you can put it in other decks, and it just really complements the deck really well. But we're here to talk about why the deck won the event. You guys know how we do this here on the series, so if you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell so you guys get notified when I upload videos. All the live deck profiles that were done by Triff, Sam, everyone, they're out on YouTube somewhere, so definitely go check them out if you want to get more in-depth ideas. But yeah, they're all out there now, and yeah, we'll get into it. So for the main deck, we have the one Armageddon Knight, one of your main starters, double Ash Blossom, one Dark Gruffer, double Phantasme, one Gizmek Orochi, 2 copies of Mathematician, the 1 copy of Brass Bombard, the 2 copies of Simple Skeleton, the 3 copies of Harp Whore, and the 3 copies of Orcust Nightmare, along with the 1 World Wand. So if you guys do watch the live deck profile, if you guys noticed in his hand trap lineups, he's only playing 2 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Phantasme, and the 2 copies of Impermanence. He talked about how his main goal was to keep the deck at 40. If you notice, his deck is a clean 40, as well as extremely turbo with all the draw cards that he has in the copies of Allure and Orchestrated Return. He talked about how he wanted to play these hand traps. He just needed to be able to keep the deck at 40, and he felt that the 2 copies of each was the best way to do that, that you're not overseeing them, that you're still drawing your main Orcust combo cards, you're still seeing your Sky Striker engine, and you're still able to capitalize on what you do and have your hand traps in addition to all your other interruptions. So I thought that was really cool. I thought it was really smart to go with the 2-2-2 ratio, especially when you're trying to keep the deck at a clean 40. So very cool. On to the spells, the triple Allure, the 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. This card was actually insane. If you watch the stream again all weekend, it was nuts. Just the interactions this card would have. Being able to banish key pieces was so important. Being able to get rid of cards for good made all the difference in this matchups. Twin Twister was a great card too in the side deck, but for the players that were making Cosmic Cyclone, they got a lot of mileage out of it, and I think it was really cool that even in a 40 card deck, he found a way to still main deck 2 copies of it, because it did come in clutch against a lot of matches. Being able to banish certain cards like Babel and other cards like that, so that the opponent's not able to get them back, is extremely strong. Also depending on the matchup. The 1 Foolish Burial, the 1 copy of Orchestrated Babel, triple copies of Orchestrated Return. This card is nuts. Just draw 2. What's nice about this card that I really like is that you're able to either send your Orcust or World Legacy monster from your hand or face up to the field, so you have options instead of just it has to be in hand or it has to be on field. You have either option, so I like that a lot. It gets your Orcust in the grave to start your combo, so it's nice. 1 copy of Rhoda, because it's your other copy of Armageddon Knight and Dark Gruffer, your 1 copy of Hornet Drones, your 1 copy of Shark Cannon, your 1 copy of Widow Anchor, and your triple copies of Engage for the Sky Striker engine. 1 copy of Upstart, because 39 cards, more consistent. 2 copies of Infinite Impermanence, and the 1 copy of Orchestrated Crescendo. To the side deck, triple Lancia. This is standard. You guys should know this. Triple Prankatop. So this was interesting. This was a card that people go back and forth on. Again, almost every format. It bounces in and out of formats. We don't know just how effective it's going to be. We don't know if players are going to use it. He talked about how this card would just be really good against Salamangreat. There was a decent amount of Salamangreat. I know Salamangreat made 3rd place. Shout out to Walter Jewell. Very, very well played. If you guys watched his matches, they were insane. Like how he just fought through so many other decks. Because I think a lot of people put Salamangreat kind of on the back burner. They didn't really acknowledge it as one of the best decks, or a deck that would have enough representation to do well, but it made it all the way to 3rd place. So the deck is very, very cool. And Prankatops is just a body that you can use against that deck, and also just good against other decks because it gives you a body, it gives you a disruption, and it gives you, a play, especially going second. So card's really strong. 3 copies of Dark Ruler No More. This is for the Thunder deck. The Wombo Combo Pendulum decks, the Wombo Combo Thunder decks. This card just takes care of it. It blankets the board. It's also really good against pure Thunder Dragons, because if your deck does struggle to search, not that Orcust has this issue, but say you open Engage and your play is to play Striker cards, being able to Dark Ruler No More them and then start popping off with your Engages is key to winning. So card's insane. He cited the 1 copy of Jamming Waves. Talked about this was mostly for the rogue matchups, or just any matchup it would be good against. This card is cool because its non-targeting ability with the destroying the monster is great. Just getting rid of more back row is important. And along with that, triple copies of Twin Twister. I mean, you put your Orcust in the grave, clear back rows, it's pretty nice. And then the 2 copies of Evenly Matched. Talked about how this card was pretty underrated, and we did talk about this. Was a card that has been cycling back into popularity. It's just a card that, just blankets the board, and a lot of players do not respect it. They'll overcommit, you'll bait their negates, then you evenly them, and then they have nothing left, or their board is subpar and you evenly them anyway, and there's down so many cards it's very hard for them to come back. But yeah, that was the side deck. And then on to his extra deck, the 2 copies of Dingirsu, the 1 copy of Barricade Board Blocker. So this card started to see more play in this deck because it does give you the option to discard a card and add a continuous or field spell from your graveyard to your hand. The main thing is to get the Orcust in your grave. Like if you have a dead Orcust card, you just make this card, send one of your Orcust to the grave, and then you're able to do your combos. So it's pretty cool. Also, you can grab back things like Babel or anything like that if it would be in the graveyard for whatever reason. So you do have those weird interactions that might eventually pop up, but it's just good to have. It's a generic link too, so important. And then you get the 1 Boral Sword. This card just wins games. The triple Galatea, it's the best card in the deck. Recycles everything, just gets your whole engine going and going and going over and over again. The 1 copy of IP. This card is made like every game. Every player that plays Orcust talks about how good this card is. This is another form of interruption. Just being able to make this and then be able to link up into something during your opponent's turn is insane. The 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn. He talked about how Unicorn is usually the card he makes. It gives you another form of disruption. You usually have cards in your hand. It could be more Orcust cards, could be extra copies of Orchestrated Return, and you literally just make a Unicorn for another form of interruption in addition to like your Crescendo and all your other stuff that you have going on with this deck. So it's pretty crazy. The 1 copy of Longirsu standard, the 1 copy of Kagari. If you guys notice, this is the only Sky Striker monster he's playing. He's not playing Shizuku, he's not playing anything like that. The Striker engine is pretty compact. It's 6 cards plus the 1 Kagari, but Kagari is really all you need to be able to recycle your Engage or recycle whatever you need and just keep going. So card's solid. The 1 copy of Topologic Bomber Dragon, the 1 copy of Topologic Trisbane, and the 1 copy of Topologic Zeraboros. If you notice, all 3 of the Topologics are in this deck. Cards are insane. They just do so many different things. This card is really, really strong. Being able to just banish things is nuts. It gets huge, depending on how many cards are banished, and it can just be game by itself. This card is nuts against the back row decks. You guys have already seen this card is made a lot, and all you gotta do is blow up and banish all the back row. And then this card is just really solid against, just your opponent not really being able to play. This and Babel can just break a whole board before your opponent can even set it up. So it's pretty solid. But yeah, that was the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. Now we're just gonna talk about why the deck did so well. So first and foremost, his deck is extremely well constructed. It was noted by the commentators how well the deck was built. As you guys can see, it's a clean 40, technically 39 with Upstart. It's playing so many good cards in it, and it's very consistent. Having the copies of Orchestrated Return, having the copies of Allure, you're able to combo your Nightmare, your Orcust with your Allure. You're able to get them back, shuffle them back with Galatea. It's pretty nuts. You have a very consistent deck that doesn't bog down on hand traps, and it has the ability to play and set up as many interruptions as possible, and it's able to play going first or second. I think that's some of the key things we've always talked about on the channel to having a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck, is the ability to play going first or going second. And the deck is just very, very solid. Another reason I feel this deck won is because it combined 2 of the best engines, 2 of the best decks in the game. When we talked about the best decks for YCS Pasadena in our previous video, I talked about how Orcust and Sky Striker were definitely going to be some of the best calls for the event. They were going to be some of the most represented decks. I did not know that Orcust Striker was actually going to be the deck that won, that they were going to take both engines and make them into a deck that is just extremely consistent and very good at what it does. The Striker engine, you guys know, I know everyone is sick of Engage, sick of seeing multiple Engages activated, but yeah, the card is insane. The card does so much for the deck, and the thing is, you could play your Orcust cards, and after you play your Orcust cards, you can play your striker cards. After you play your striker cards, you can do your Orcust combo. If anything gets stopped in your striker cards and your Orcust cards, you have the other engine to fall back on. And I feel that that again is why the deck was so successful, is you have multiple engines to fall back on. You have the ability to just overwhelm your opponent with card advantage, and the opponent can really just not play out of everything. If they waste hand traps, if they waste certain cards and they can't play beyond that, you just automatically win. So it's pretty nuts overall. And I would say another reason, of course, this deck won is because of the pilot. Shout out to Kobe Short. He's been doing very well at a lot of events, if you guys do follow. And, you know, he himself predicted that one of these days I'm going to win a YCS. And, you know, it's all over Facebook. People have it screenshotted and whatnot when he said I'm going to win a YCS. And you know what? You did it, man. You did it. You called it and you did it. I think that this deck was definitely, you know, not only well constructed, but extremely well piloted. And again, if you guys are non-believers, just watch the stream. Like, shout out to Konami. The stream was really, really good. It grew on me over the weekend. Like, the new layout threw me off, and then when I saw it more and more, it started to grow on me more. And if you guys watch the matches, you'll see just how well Kobe, Cody, Walter, all these players played, because it was just a very, very well ran event, and just really good players, and they built their decks to the best of their abilities, and they clearly had success. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this deck. I think this deck is extremely, again, well built and well executed for the event, and I think a lot of people were just not on the fact that Striker Orcust was going to be the deck, but overall it was, and that's what ended up winning YCS Pasadena. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Do you like the deck? Do you not like the deck? I know everyone's going to say ban engage. It might happen. It might not. Strikers are still getting support. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you guys know what to do. Give the video a thumbs up. Why do you guys feel that Striker Orcust won YCS Pasadena? Are you guys excited for the upcoming YCSs that they announced? There's actually going to be another YCS Pasadena in May of next year. So that's pretty crazy. There's 3 YCSs coming up. You guys can check the actual page for that. But yeah, it's super exciting. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts on the deck, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.